from ARS Steels. They do something exciting, and Aishwarya is going to talk about it. Sumit has been working on it for a long time. He's going to be seated there, and hopefully can take a couple of questions from me. But ARS, the reason I got them here is, while we all talk about green steel being sometime in the future, we are looking at so many things. We can decarbonize the power, we can capture CO2 emissions, and as Saint Gobain just said, maybe we can use nanotech to make some cement admixtures, whatever it means. All these are being talked about. But ARS is currently making steel at something like 0.6 kilogram CO2 per kilogram of steel, which is a fraction of the country average, which is 2.6 kilogram CO2 per kilogram of steel. You will hear how.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to sincerely thank EAI for inviting us to this event. It's indeed a great honor to be here and to have the opportunity to present in such a distinguished forum. ARS Steels, founded in 1992, is a leading integrated steel manufacturer with a production facility located in Chennai, Tamil Nadu. Our experience spans over 46 years in steel industry, particularly in procurement of premium recycled steel, including 33 years in billet manufacturing and nearly 20 years in producing steel rebars. The current installed capacity is 3 lakh metric tons for mild steel billets and 2,76,000 metric tons for steel rebars TMT. Our TMT rebar production will increase to 0.5 million tons per annum by Jan 2027. ARS targets the production of 1 million tons per annum of green steel rebars by 2030. We are pioneers in production of 100% D quality steel TMT rebars, that is pure steel, and have been consistently producing from the past 6 years. D stands for ductility, where sulfur is less than 0.04% and phosphorus less than 0.04%. Sulfur plus phosphorus less than 0.075%. We also produce 550D CRS, where CRS stands for corrosion-resistant steel. CRS is produced by adding and maintaining copper, chrome, nickel, and moly, ensuring the longevity and durability of structures, thereby extending the lifespan of the building. ARS CRS steel bars are perfect for challenging environments such as construction areas with poor groundwater quality, including TDS levels exceeding 400 ppm, making them ideal choice for high-rise and critical infrastructure. Every batch of our steel rebars are tested and certified in real time at the production point by SGS, the world's #1 testing, inspection, and certification agency. We offer a unique testing facility at the customer's site free of cost through our Tech Express van, equipped with a German-made spectrometer capable of analyzing 32 elements, including copper, chromium, nickel, and molybdenum. This ensures the authenticity of quality is verified accurately and instantly. Corrosion resistance in TMT rebars, a construction necessity. Rebar corrosion is the #1 cause of premature building failure. When steel rusts, it expands 6 to 8 times, cracking the concrete and creating hidden collapse risks. Corrosion is worst in high TDS water, coastal regions, and saline soils, where salts and chlorides attack rebars. The result is costly repairs, 3 to 5 times more than initial construction cost, plus visible damage like seepage, rust stains, and peeling plaster. Frequent repairs also mean higher cement and steel consumption, increasing the carbon footprint. When we were developing CRS TMT, we conducted extensive water quality analysis across Tamil Nadu. The results were concerning. Average TDS levels were very high, ranging from 400 ppm to as much as 2,800 ppm. In such conditions, the life of normal TMT is significantly reduced, making structures more vulnerable over time. Now, look at the table. Normal TMT may last 40 to 50 years when TDS is below 400 ppm. But in harsh conditions, its life can be reduced to just 10 to 15 years. CRS TMT, on the other hand, ensures 40 to 60 years of reliable service even in coastal and saline environments. That's why CRS TMT is not just recommended, it's essential for safety, durability, and long-term savings. We use over 98% premium quality recycled steel, such as CRC bundles and HMS, which inherently have lower embedded carbon and deliver clear, consistent quality. Our sponge iron consumption is just 0.5%, making our input mix the most sustainable in the industry. By using over 98% recycled steel, we demonstrate a powerful commitment to recycling and waste reduction. By repurposing steel scrap, we are conserving valuable natural resources and greatly reducing the environmental impact that comes with mining raw materials. To maximize efficiency, we have invested in advanced steel processing equipment, enabling us to achieve an impressive yield of over 95%, meaning 95% of input recycled steel is converted into high-quality MS billet, thereby minimizing losses, reducing emissions, and achieving best-in-class electricity consumption of around 725 kilowatts per ton on billets and TMT bars. We have invested into captive renewable energy of more than 100 megawatt wind plus solar power projects. We've committed ourselves for procuring RE by entering into 25 years long-term PPA, helping us slash Scope 2 emissions and reduce reliance on fossil fuel-based grids. At present, around 30% of our current electricity consumption is sourced from renewable power, and by March 2026, we aim to increase our renewable energy consumption to 80%. Our latest third-party audited International Environmental Product Declaration, EPD, confirms CO2 emissions at 592 kilo per ton of steel. This emission intensity of 592 kilo CO2 per ton of steel is over 4 times lower than the Indian average of 2,550 kilo CO2, more than 3 times lower than the global average of 1,850 kilo CO2, and about 5 times lower than emissions from the conventional blast furnace route. One of the biggest myths in our industry is that secondary steel is inferior. The reality is very different. Steel quality depends on quality of input raw material, not on whether it's called primary or secondary. According to the Ministry of Steel, there is no difference between primary and secondary steel. The only factor that matters is whether the steel meets BIS standards, and ARS ensures it always does. At ARS, we use premium quality recycled inputs like CRC sheets and MS strip. As you can see in the analysis, the chemical composition of our recycled input is significantly lower than the prescribed IS 1786 limits for carbon, phosphorus, and sulfur. For CRC sheet, carbon is only 22% of the IS limit, phosphorus just 16%, sulfur only 25%. For MS strip scrap, carbon is 73% of the IS limit, phosphorus 35%, sulfur 41%. So the key message is simple. Premium input recycled steel equal to premium output steel. That is the ARS advantage. We combine sustainability with premium quality. There's a lot of substandard or fake quality steel entering the market, often produced through sponge iron/DRI. This material inherently contains high sulfur and phosphorus, which weakens the steel and compromises long-term durability. Now let's look at the output, our ARS CRS 550D TMT bars. Here we are comparing both chemical properties and physical properties with the IS 1786 standard. Chemically, ARS CRS 550D are consistently within the prescribed IS limits. Our spectrometer reports show that sulfur and phosphorus levels are way below IS limits. The message is clear that when recycled input is premium, the output will also be premium. At ARS Steels, transparency is not just a principle. It's a non-negotiable commitment that defines how we operate. We provide ultimate transparency on quality, sustainability, and customer services. We don't just talk about quality at an aggregated level, but at a heat/customer order level. For each heat, we track the ingoing recycled steel properties and test the molten steel quality via our NABL certified lab to do real-time optimization to ensure the required specs. All these tests and reports are available on our cloud-based digital platform for ready reference for our customers. ARS Steels is the only company in India that assures TMT rebar samples taken from anywhere in the market will consistently meet and pass stringent quality tests. Our quality standards are so robust that customers can confidently export our TMT rebars to any country, assured that they will meet international quality standards. So the ARS formula for premium quality green steel is premium quality recycled steel plus renewable energy plus no fossil fuels equal to premium quality green steel. In 2023, we published our environmental product declaration, and we reached our carbon emissions to 592 kilos CO2 per ton of steel. By increasing our RE to 80%, we aim to reduce our CO2 emissions to 200 kilos CO2 per ton of steel, where we are way ahead of Ministry of Steel 2030 target of 2.2 tons CO2 per ton of steel. We have implemented a digital CO2 emissions tracking tool that tracks and reports CO2 emissions on a real-time basis using the Worldsteel Association and GHG protocol calculations. Here, we get CO2 emissions at the heat customer order level, and this is integrated directly with our internal data systems, ensuring carbon footprint report is 100% automated, accurate, verifiable, and audit ready. We believe the definition of green steel is not sustainability, but it is low emissions plus high quality plus ultimate transparency. These are our green building certifications, and we are eligible for all green building projects. Ministry of Steel has released a green steel taxonomy where star ratings are based on the level of CO2 per ton of finished steel, where 3-star is between 2 to 2.2 ton, 4-star is between 1.6 to 2, and 5-star is less than 1.6. ARS is #1 in the country to receive the green steel certificate from the Ministry of Steel. ARS leads the nation as the #1 producer of low CO2 TMT bars with 5-star rating. ARS Steels is around 2.5 times better than the best with CO2 emission intensity of 0.6432 ton CO2 per ton of finished steel. Climate change is already here. India is facing record heat waves, floods, and water shortages. Scientists warn that crossing 1.5 degrees Celsius of global warming could push us past a tipping point, causing irreversible damage. When we talk about buildings and climate change, we usually focus on operational carbon, the emissions from running lights, fans, air conditioning, and other systems over the building's life. But there's another equally important source: embodied carbon. Embodied carbon is the total carbon footprint locked into a building before anyone moves in. It comes from the extraction of raw materials, manufacturing, transport, and the construction process itself. In India's building sector today, operational carbon makes up about 85% of total life cycle emissions, while embodied carbon accounts for around 15%. Now, why it matters for net zero? Operational carbon is reduced slowly over decades with energy efficiency and renewable power, but embodied carbon is released instantly, right now, and stays in the atmosphere for decades. If we want net zero buildings, we must tackle embodied carbon from day one, because once it's emitted, you can't take it back. Net zero starts the day you choose your materials, not the day you switch on the lights. Let's take a closer look at where most emissions actually occur in a building's life. About 70 to 80% of total emissions happen during the project phase, and construction materials contribute the most, around 90% of these emissions. When we look at a building's life cycle embodied emissions, around 72% of all emissions happen before the building is even operational, that is, during the product stage and the construction stage. Looking closer at construction material emissions, steel is the largest contributor at 45%. This means steel alone is responsible for roughly 40% of all project phase emissions. And this is why steel is the single most powerful lever for reducing embodied carbon in buildings. A change here can transform the carbon profile of the entire project. The Indian steel industry has one of the highest carbon intensities in the world, about 2,550 kilograms of CO2 per ton of steel. The reason is simple. Most of our national production is still coal-based. At ARS Steels, we are on a very different path. Today, our carbon intensity is just 592 kilograms of CO2 per ton. That's around 77% lower than the Indian average. Our future target is 200 kilograms of CO2 per ton, which would mean a 92% reduction compared to the national average. We are achieving this by sourcing over 98% premium grade recycled scrap, using more than 80% renewable energy in our operations, running highly efficient electric induction furnaces, and driving continuous process improvement every single year. In short, premium recycled steel plus renewable energy isn't just the cleanest way to make steel, it's the smartest way to make the highest quality steel for a net zero future. Now, let's understand the real impact of low carbon steel. If we use the Indian average steel at 2,550 kilograms of CO2 per ton, the project would lock in 63,750 tons of CO2 emissions before completion. Our future target is 200 kilograms per ton, which would cut emissions to just 5,000 tons, avoiding 58,750 tons of CO2, equivalent to nearly 67,000 mature trees, absorbing CO2 for 40 years, or 38.5 acres of land saved. This isn't just about numbers. It's about making every ton of steel part of the climate solution. Every project has a carbon cost. With ARS Steels, that cost becomes your biggest climate saving. Now that we have seen the environmental benefits of ARS low-carbon steel, let's put those benefits into financial terms.
Aishwarya, can we finish it in a minute, please?
Yeah. Across the world, carbon emissions aren't just an environmental issue, they carry a real cost. Under the European Union emissions trading system, the current market price is Euro 73.21 per ton of CO2, which converts to over rupees 7,400 per ton at the current exchange rate of rupees 102. While India does not yet have a mandatory carbon price, leading developers and global aligned corporates are already preparing for carbon markets. A recent headline-making agreement saw a major global tech firm commit to purchasing 1 lakh tons of carbon removal credits from an Indian biochar project worth approximately $8 million. This sets a strong precedent that avoided emissions in India are becoming monetizable assets. To scale the EU ETS savings for a 5 million square feet commercial building at today's ARS advantage, rupees 14,595 per ton, that's rupees 32.8 crore saved. At our future target, rupees 17,517 per ton, that equates to rupees 39.4 crore saved, all before the building is even occupied. That is what we mean by profit and planet gains from day one. Thank you once again for your time and attention. We're glad to have shared our journey with you.
Thank you, Aishwarya. Well, Aishwarya spoke on Sumit's behalf because he has a bit of low pressure. Otherwise, he would have delivered a far more convincing thing. Aishwarya works with him. I know both of them quite well. So Sumit has been actually driving. Sumit comes from the promoters family of ARS Steel, and he has been driving green steel. I would have loved to ask him a lot of questions. Now that most of the questions probably have been answered by Aishwarya, I'm going to leave it, and also we're running short of time. But only one question, Sumit. Is there some recommendation you would like to make to the builders who are your customers of green steel that you're making? Is there something you want to say to them or about them based on the experience you have had? You can take.
Yeah, thanks, Narsi, and Aishwarya, thank you very much. First and foremost, green should not be seen in isolation. Quality and green should be seen together. There is a lot of myth and misconception in the market. People generally say that the steel which is produced from primary sources is the best steel. But as a builder, as a GCC, as a corporate, as an end consumer, it is your duty to check the steel quality. We are providing a very, very unique advantage for the end consumer, and it is absolutely free of cost. And it came out of our consciousness when we were working on the steel quality. We wanted the customer to buy the best steel. So we have invested into 12 tech vans, and each van is equipped with a German-made spectrometer. We have invested around 7 crore rupees in this. Additionally, we are also investing in 12 tech vans. So total capex is 15 crore rupees, and this facility is absolutely free of cost. Irrespective the customer is buying ARS Steel or any other brand, they can call our customer care. The tech van will come to their site. The steel which is being used in the construction, from the foundation, from the plinth, they will pick up the sample and they will check the quality in front of your eyes. So take conscious decisions, have your steel tested, test the steel from where it is being used, not from the sample which is provided by the manufacturer. We are the only steel manufacturer in the country which guarantee our steel rebar samples collected from anywhere in the market. Leave about India, if you export it to any country, and the quality they show to pass with flying colors.
Thank you, Sumit. Thank you for coming down in spite of your poor health. Thank you very much. Aishwarya, can you also come up and receive a memento, please? Yeah. Merrick. Request Merrick Gogri of Spectrum Impact to give a memento to Aishwarya and to Sumit.